everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. I hope you all have been enjoying Trump's visit to the UK as much as I have. All of Melania's amazing outfits, giving us all the comms. We will be showing you some of those, as well as continuing our journey with all the V-Steg and Batman and the werewolf guy and all that fun stuff. So jump in the live chat and let us know your thoughts. If you are looking for precious metals, we are at the end of the fiscal year for 2025, and we'll be talking to you a little bit about that and all the noise going on about the US debt. And it doesn't look like there's too many people interested in buying that. So I think that's going to be handed to the Fed. Don't get caught in the hot seat. Make sure that you get your precious metals from Miles Franklin, our friend Andy Scheckman, and the great team over there. So make sure you check them out and tell them that Litecoin Lisa sent you. They will be sure to give you all of the best deals. Every month they have different deals for our community, and they will handle you with care and discretion. So you can email info@milesfranklin.com and tell them Litecoin Lisa sent you to get all the greatest deals. I just ordered some. So I'll be right back with Skullcap right after this. Hey there, Skullcap. How are you?
Hanging in.
Good to see you. I just had so much fun watching, not all, but some of the nonsense. I did feel like it was a little bit of Groundhog Day, I have to tell you, watching the pomp and circumstance, because I was like, didn't we do this with Mummy a few years ago, where Trump was walking down, looking over the Queen's Guard and the military and all that? But I did notice
You're specifically speaking to the UK visit, right? I'm just be clear. Okay. Yes, there's a lot going on in the world, so I just want to make sure which one we're talking about.
I can pull up some images if that's helpful, but I
think you're talking about the it's almost like the
I can show you
the tunnel view of all the soldiers lining up alongside the lawn he has to walk forward on, right?
Walks through, and he's with this guard guy, and so when he walked through with Mummy, he and Mummy were walking, and the guard was behind him with the silver sword up.
Yep.
And Mummy kind of waved him ahead, and Trump walked in front of her, and everyone went crazy that Trump's a big heathen.
How dare he?
Yes, and he's a heathen. Yeah, how dare you walk in front of the Queen? Well, he did it because he was supposed to, and she told him to, and all this stuff. Okay, this time, Trump's totally ignoring fake King Charles. He's kind of slumping up behind, bringing up the rear. And this time, the guard is in front with the sword in front.
I noticed that, yeah.
And Trump was right behind. And, Trump had that whole peace tour all around the world where the women were whipping their hair around, and they did the sword dance and all that.
I don't know if I remember the sword dance.
You don't know about the sword dance? Okay, it's a whole thing. So about Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all this started in Vegas, I believe, and Trump saved the prince's life from Saudi Arabia and all that. The shooting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're talking about the Vegas shooting in 2017 when the Q drop started, right?
Yes, that's what I believe. Okay, so then we had all this happen, then the sword dance, and so then the peace tour, whatever. And then now we're having, just yesterday, Trump's going back. And if you look on Little Mr. Fake King's, I'll share the.
You're talking about Ben Salmon? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think that's his name.
And specifically the peace tour that we're talking about was when the imagery of him putting his hand on the globe with all of them when that iconography was taken. Is this the peace tour we're talking about from like back then? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. See, I can't get to my Twitter. I've been kicked out of my Twitter on my computer and I can't get back on. But I found a little workaround. Hold on, let me see if I can do it again. I really need like technical help. Okay. Let me see if I can share this way. Yes, I'm going to AJ here, doing exactly what I'm thinking. Okay. Oh, this was what I was talking about earlier about the dates. So
okay.
But that we'll talk about later. Okay. Oh, and we will talk about this later. But right now. Okay.
Oh, we finally have a hurricane coming, huh?
Yeah, Gabrielle. That's one of my
Archangel Gabrielle.
Yeah, one of my guardian angels. Yeah.
Well.
Oh, and also,
you know, Tartari and
Tartaria we were talking about. Yep. This Cincinnati. That's we were talking earlier. Groundhog Day. More Groundhog Day. Here goes the dogs. Okay. Oh, this was epic. Guess what the captain of the guard his name was?
Lieutenant Cole Storm.
Lieutenant Colonel. That means Lieutenant Colonel.
Oh, Lieutenant Colonel. Right.
Which is also LTC. So everybody on my car tag, I have LTC Lisa, and people think I'm Lieutenant Colonel Lisa, which I'm not. I'm Litecoin Lisa, but Lieutenant Colonel Storm Green. Yes. What's the odds of that?
Which is a nod to the Q drop with the green means what is
the green and
past the green light, or I forgot what the phraseology was, but
the storm is upon
It's interesting that the Atlas 3i Atlas is also emitting the green light, the green gas at the same time. You know, everybody's up in arms about what that's going to be the harbinger of.
Yeah. Oh, here's what another thing I wanted to show you.
Yeah, I saw that floating around the internet, which I thought was interesting because that would tie into the date with the Vegas shooting and when the Q drop started.
Yes.
Depending on when you're talking about 2017, because that was the inauguration of President Trump's first term also.
Right. Also when Hillary may have been ended, believed to be. This was interesting to me. Yellow is Q on the nautical alphabet.
What does that mean? What's the nautical alphabet have to do with colors?
Flags. So in boating or not in the Navy, they use flags.
I understand that, but what does the color have to do with the alphabet?
Yellow is Q. So like they would spell things with flags.
And yellow has a designation
of Q.
Gold alphabet.
Yeah. And then notice her silver buckle.
Gold flag alphabet.
And buckle up, Buttercup. The phrase, that's a Q post, buckle up.
Okay,
Buttercup.
so I didn't know that. I know about all these flags and their designation. I did not know that they had letter associations to them. So is this like a codex to where if you just have a whole string of them and that's why they have a string of them because it spells something? You know what I'm talking about? Like if you look at the scale.
I could have to talk to one of my Navy friends to like confirm, because I'm not knowledgeable in this. I'm just finding things on the internet that I'm reading about. But I would want to like actually talk to one of my friends who are in the Navy or something to confirm.
Here's a good little yeah, I mean,
but I thought that was really interesting.
I just found a graphic that has it all. Yeah, Q is a solid yellow color. Interesting. Yeah.
So, and today or yesterday, 17th, was also the day that the Constitution was founded.
Oh, right. Maybe that's what it was pointing to, Lisa. We'll have a set. Okay. I think that's probably in all likelihood the hit that we were that.
That's what the yellow was, which is funny because I kept seeing yellow in a bunch of my other comms leading up to like last week, but I didn't know what they were talking about. And I kept seeing yellow, yellow, yellow. And I'm like, what? And I thought it was the children because in the world of Disney, the little girl who had to wear the yellow dress was the one that got offered up.
Well, maybe this isn't going to be the time we get into this, but we may as well just say that we're cooking up something relating to Yellow Jacket, because this is probably going to be tied into that, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it. But Lisa has everyone, as she has done a few times in the past on these shows, she contributes like pretty meaningful findings that I haven't seen yet that plug right in to kind of the event stream of decoding what the V-Steg is telling us. Pretty meaningful additions that help us gain more context. And one of those that she's come across that we haven't really decoded live here on the air yet is this symbology of Yellow Jacket. And she's seeing it on military patches. She's seeing it in advertising as it goes. She's seeing it in even sometimes just with Qualia. It'll come up in her Facebook feed and she'll share something that might be relevant. But there's a comic that ties right into the whole tapestry of Wolverine, Batman, and Superman, essentially. We'll just leave it at then Deadpool, that we've been talking about all summer relative to the Intrepid Museum on the 88th Pier and the time ritual that's involved.
And the eclipses.
And what we'll talk about with these key dates. September 17th is the day that we're going to tie into the conversation today, but I'm going to leave this hanging for future discussion because we won't have time to get into Yellow Jacket tonight.
Yeah.
But perhaps this yellow signaling from Melania is related to this. So is kind of what I'm suggesting.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So we'll just leave that there, a little cliffhanger for later whenever we can get to that topic fully. But okay, so this is all yesterday still with all of the.
That was yesterday. Dinner. This hat, people were.
I saw this. It's like a plum colored hat, right?
It's also very. Who's the I want to say VK. I can't think of the character. Is it Zim? There's a cartoon guy, and then it's also the remember the 5th of November guy too.
Oh, you're talking about V, just from the V for Vendetta comic?
V for Vendetta, similar, but because he wears a hat similar to that. But then there's also a comic that looks like this.
Okay.
But he has like the cone nose like they wore for during.
Oh, you're talking about like one of those plague doctor masks or something?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
I know what a plague doctor looks like. I don't know the comic book character that wears a plague doctor mask, though.
You would if I showed it to you, if I could
maybe
describe it better. Wait a minute. Maybe it'd be in the comments. Did anybody put a picture? No, nobody put a picture. Come on, guys.
There it is.
No, that wasn't it.
Oh, you're looking for the comic, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if anybody put the comic of the comparison. It's like a spy thing. It's their comic.
Oh, you're talking about Mad Magazine, Spy versus Spy?
Is that what it is? It's like a little black and white.
Yeah, that's Spy versus Spy from Mad Magazine is what you're thinking about.
I don't know these things, so.
That's okay. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
I'm well versed in all this fictional garbage with all the names and likenesses and memes and themes of characters, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
That's what the Steg is all about.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Spy versus Spy, and I was thinking of Guy Fawkes.
I could have told you that too if you just wanted to know the name of the mask. Guy Fawkes he is the scapegoat for the whole gunpowder plot.
Right. For the
That's where you get the Fox. Here's more wordplay for you. Again, Fox sounds like Fox, F-O-X.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the Fox faction. You know, this is why I've never trusted Fox News, because it's a Jesuit organization. For instance, just if the Fox faction, as it relates to the wordplay, is very clever. And if you think about it too, Lisa, it's interesting that the Jesuits would take on the guise of a fox to cast their little watermark on things, because the fox is like the Jesuit watermark. But they do this just like anybody takes on the anthropomorphized qualities or sigil of an animal. It's to embody what that animal's core strengths are. And so if you look at what a fox's core strengths are, it's subversion, it's misdirection, it's wiliness, it's hiding from the shadows, it's playing tricks. So, you know, the Guy Fawkes situation and the steganography underneath it is, you know, we're going to have to educate the audience on the Guy Fawkes aspect of it. Because when you think about it, this is very key to the whole Q narrative, because when you look at Q and the symbolism of the original Anons, the Anons themselves chose the Guy Fawkes mask, unfortunately,
right,
as their symbol.
I know. And then the Bitcoin people picked it up as well.
Yeah. And everybody thinks they know what the V for Vendetta story is. Oh, V was a revolutionary. He was an iconoclast. No, he was mentally incapacitated from the traumas that he'd endured. Mm-hmm. And he was fucked with by, you know, the socialist upper sorcerer class. Mm-hmm. And he was extracting revenge, but he was the creature that they programmed and made him to be, just like an MK Ultra creature would be.
I was going to say, Wano SaVant said something today, and I need to go back and rewatch it again. Mm-hmm. But he said something like, the people that have been, and I'm going to misquote it because I need to go back and rewatch it, because I was half listening, whatever. But he said something like, they've messed with, the good guys have messed with the timelines. Like, there have been real tragedies. This is a war where there have been real tragedies, but, and so to, you know, speak with respect and whatever with these situations, but they have used these, it's like the good guys have used these situations to mess with the timeline, to disempower the evil ones, because the dates are so important, the dates and the ley lines and whatever, the power structure, you know? And so it's like because the people that have been messed with, that have been harmed, the MK Ultra or whatever term you want to use, they're changing the direction of things with them. Like it's like those people are a tool.
They're able to be swayed, therefore they're able to be puppeteered.
Used for good or
do what they want with the show after, you know.
And so they're changing the story, like Westwood and I talk about the Choose Your Own Adventure book. Well, the good guys are getting a hold of some of these that might have been used for evil and using them for good. They're changing the story, and that's messing up the evil one's plot. But
this is what part of the argument is. In fact, it's pretty tough to do, but you can see the hallmarks of it. the steganography isn't an evil thing. It's actually just, it's a casting mechanism. It's a weapon if you want it to be, or a waking up mechanism if you want it to be. And you see it used both ways. And this is part of what I like about the Batman story. You can tell whoever's writing these Batman stories, it's clear to me that there's a collective of people that's trying to wake people the fuck up with the V-Steganography that's used.
When people say, oh, how does Matt Groening know all that, and
Right.
whatever. Well, does he, or is there time travel, or are they putting it out there for people to question it? Well, does it matter as long as people are asking questions and waking up and thinking for themselves, or starting to stop thinking that life happens at them, and they start taking responsibility for themselves. And
well, here, people don't realize what the casting of spells really has to do with keeping up with the event stream too. People get tricked into thinking like Matt Groening can tell all. Back in 1996, he put this in a Simpsons episode. Okay, well, think about this in reverse. He just makes a show. It's made with whatever it's made with. It's written however it's written. It's now there in the public eye, whatever it is. He's the most storied TV producer of all time. There are more Simpsons episodes than fucking anything, right? Hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds. So it's there. It's in the living consciousness. It has numeric symbology attached to it from the very get-go with its season, with its episode. It's season 3, episode 22. Oh my God, 322 is attached to that. That's a Skull and Bones number, okay? This is naturally always going to be the case. And I don't deny that there's probably some implanting of key memes within those types of episode contexts. However, the event stream still unfolds as it unfolds. It's not that like they know how it's going to unfold. However, for any new episode of anything Matt Groening creates, he can go back into the annals of time and use the pre-existing memes that were structured within that episode and refashion them however he wants, with brand new numeric potential to them, with new gematria attached to it, let's say, for the present spell that needs to be cast. It's not like he's designing it on the fly, therefore, is my supposition. It just is a lot of the sorcery class is with the media mechanisms, because you can't know entirely how the public's perception is going to sway. Astrology is only an impression, right? You can't it's never to the degree where it's bumper bowling all the way with our minds, I think, is kind of what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
There's
so I would submit that to people. Involved. I would submit that to people to consider about time travel and all that shit. It's just they're really good at knowing the repertoire of impressionable weapons that they can use on your mind. And this is their science. And that's why they're sorcerers at casting it on you. It's still crude. It's still, they still probably, I don't even think they understand how it all works, but there are both sides. There's the Templar side, was the self-organizing collective, Cliff calls them, right? He's talked about that self-organizing collective for years and years and years. And I think they're kind of a spiritual rebel force that's trying to break down those barriers that have kept our minds trapped. And part of that is seeing the themes, waking up through the memes. That's why they cast them right into assassination attempts with President Trump last July and blah, 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 and on we go. But we saw we just saw the culmination of a lot of ritual that that I think we're talking about all summer, with the Wolverine thing,
right?
With the Intrepid Museum and the Timex Intrepid watch as it relates to the Q post. Everybody go watch again the videos Lisa and I did throughout the course of the summer, but we did culminate here with a pretty key moment just this last week. We haven't even mentioned that with, because it's been over talked about, but the Charlie Kirk assassination. But there are some contextual steganography points to match with what happened there with the research that I've covered ground with, specifically relating to the dates of McKinley's assassination, President McKinley, right, in Buffalo. And I was talking with Lisa about this before the show started, guys, and I don't know how much this is actually tied in with all the UK stuff that she's bringing up, but they're kind of part and parcel, right next to each other happening in sequence. So I think they're probably connected a little bit, and I'll tie these thoughts together after she and I volley back and forth with it with some actual steganography in the comics that ties the whole thread together. But if you think about this, it's pretty amazing that President McKinley actually was declared dead. It wasn't shot on the same day as Charlie Kirk was shot, but he was shot in the stomach, so his wound festered over several days and was declared dead on the same day Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So there's that similarity to this aspect of it. And then there's also the weird aspect of this September 23rd looming date that Lisa already brought up earlier in the stream, where McKinley's assassin was actually convicted. I think there's some calendrical forecasting, matching mechanisms at play here with a ritual that we're about to see unfold as it relates with that key date. And then the other one that she brought up here with the Constitutional Day, the Constitution Day is what it's called, right? On the 17th of September.
The 17th of September. And then today is John McAfee's birthday. Janice had posted a video of him singing on his 75th birthday. And I shared it, I believe, in our Telegram group, Team Mighty Telegram group. There's a link in the description of this video on YouTube, and you can join for free. Mm-hmm. And I put a lot of content on there, and you can put content in there as well. And then it's almost, and if you read the comments of people watching it, they say, oh, like it's almost hypnotic. Some people don't like the way it makes them feel, like him singing it. When I asked Grok to write the words of the song he was singing, it wrote, "It's a very good year," VERI, like the
right, like very yeah,
mm-hmm, in all capitals. And he talks about, like, the way he was saying it was like 1735, which of course is JFK. He talks about, he says something like a city would fall in the autumn. It's just very haunting the way he sings it. And it feels like the time we're in right now. And it was a very good year. And it was really interesting to have her post that.
And to be clear, this is the Sinatra song, right?
Excuse me.
It was a very good year. Yes. Like that one? Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me. Yes, and this would be his 80th birthday.
This would be Sinatra's 80th birthday?
No. McAfee's.
Oh, McAfee's.
So another 8.
Yeah, and remember, everybody, 88 is significant to time because 8 is the analemma shape that the moon makes once a month as it goes through its cyclical it's once every 28-day cycle. So it'll make a figure 8 in the sky every 28 days, and the sun does the same thing once per year about the sky. It's an artifact of our spiraling orbit behind it and our motion relative to us going around it and us having the 3 motions of the Earth. It just works out that you have 2 8s. And what the 8s then signify is the passage of time, both on a monthly basis and a daily/yearly basis with the sun. So you have it all accounted for
and
with
right
88.
Now
so if you're gonna do a time or a perception ritual on the time aspect of things, you would use the 88 a lot, and that's what we see.
Yeah, and right now we're in a eclipse cycle. I had a little graphic for it I was going to share it with you guys that showed all 3 and the dates coming up. See if I can find out while we're talking. But I also wanted to show you guys this. One of my friends works for a roofing company, and she went to a roofing conference in Dallas a few weeks ago, not too long ago, and Charlie Kirk was speaking there, funny enough, and he was speaking at it, and look what it was called.
Win the Storm. Yeah.
And do you notice his face? and his teeth in this?
I mean,
His
I don't
cheek,
know. I mean, I don't know
his
if it's like a
eyes.
mask you're trying to infer here, because I don't know Charlie Kirk's face well enough to tell you how. I know he's got kind of messed up teeth. Everybody kind of makes fun of his teeth all the time.
Okay, but look at his gums in this picture, and then go look at the picture where he has messed up teeth. He doesn't have messed up teeth in this picture. He has gums in this picture, and he has very pronounced cheeks, and his eyes are kind of like this. So this is the Charlie Kirk that was speaking in person in Dallas at Win the Storm.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting.
Anyway, just saying.
The storm is now upon us. I mean, it's very apparent. It's very funny too, like the dichotomy of the lack of actual hurricane storms this season, other than the one you just pointed out, the Gabrielle one.
Mm-hmm.
But perhaps it isn't, because the real storm is the social storm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure what to speculate on September 23rd yet, but I want to let's tie all this stuff together with the audience. I'm going to bring all these key dates together. We're kind of throwing them out there, and it's a less structured show than we've done on this stuff in the past. So before we go talk about September 23rd, because I want to tie together the UK stuff, the Melania symbolism. What do you think is happening over in the UK with the latest? Because what do you think it's signaling? Because that's really where the rubber meets the road, I think, with that. And then how does that tie into the Constitution Day?
Yeah.
And whatever we're going to go through on September 23rd, because if anybody remembers the last show that Lisa and I did, we brought up one concept that I affectionately referred to as the late labor ritual, which was one of these side items within the V-Steganography that I caught on to with the calendar rituals and as we were exploring them in the Batman comics. And what we inferred from what the messaging in the comics was telling us about key dates that were happening as we were living through them is that there would be a long gestation period for what we were about to have unfold, longer than would be comfortable, like a woman that was overdue in their labor, let's say like 11 months along, like 2 months overdue with their labor, and they still hadn't had their child. So what I was saying back at the time was we would have to go through this period where you would just finally just want to get the labor done with, no matter the pain, no matter the heartache, whatever. You just got to push this child out, And I think we're approaching that soon, whether that's September 23rd or not, I don't know. But what's interesting, tying back to the McKinley assassination again, his assassin was convicted on the 23rd, pronounced dead the same day as Charlie Kirk. He's the 25th president, 5 by 5, if you factorialize that. And he's got this implicit connection to Trump's assassination through the whole Buffalo side of the ritual that we pointed out in my videos last July. The V-Steg on Trump's assassination attempt, by the way, is vast. But curiously enough, I don't see a lot of steganography specifically with Charlie Kirk's. That's the weird thing. There's not a lot for me to go on that I've seen that's hit the noggin from a point of like, wow, there's the V-Steg. That's what's weird to me about.
To be honest, I think the Charlie Kirk thing was to cover up what was happening. It was a distraction.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, there's
I don't think it's the big show. They kept talking about somebody, Arbrio Garcia, that they were.
Oh God, again.
Well, they were talking about it, and they were talking about they were going to deport him, and then they didn't.
Yeah.
Then they were going to send him to Ghana, and everybody's like, "What? Why are you sending this guy to Ghana?"
Yeah.
Well, then I looked up and grokked up, what does KAG stand for? Because something triggered in my head when one of the things goes, "Oh, I can't believe it's the first one without 3 names," and I was like, why does it have 3 names? Oh, because when I gematria stuff, a lot of times it's only the capital letters when they're sending messages.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked up what KAG is. Well, it can mean King Arthur's gold. It can mean Kinesis AG, which is a digital silver.
Yeah, well, AG, right? Yeah, because it would be kinetically creating silver kind of thing. Because AG is the periodic call sign, what the periodic label,
right,
for silver. So
are they deporting or sending? Is this about the revaluing? Is this the Nasera Jacera? Then revaluing? Are they sending funds? Are they sending funds to Ghana? Are they trying to cover up? Remember the Taylor Swift thing? Oh, wait, we gotta flood. Oh, Taylor Swift got engaged.
Oh, you're talking about the distraction with the news of her engagement.
When
Right.
something happens and they flood the sound waves with a story with the same word so that you don't hear what's happening with the thing that they don't want you to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember his name, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, KAG, something was happening with what I believe is either King Arthur's gold or Kinesis silver. And that's just my gut. This is me, little conspiracy theory, Lisa, talking. I will also tell you, I just thought of something else when we were talking about that. Oh, I'll think of it again. But so this is today. So this was back when the Queen was walking with him.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before. Yeah.
This was yesterday. What a difference. He's walking with, and they want to call him King Charles, but I don't think he's a king. But he's lagging behind, and here's Trump and the guard walking. And I was like, didn't we do this already? And I was like, oh, another Silver Sword Peace Tour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is all still September 17th. So
this is all still September 17th. Now, we've also asked for, Stephen Miller is asking for the census to be corrected. I've been screaming about this for years, so that's, I think, part of this. But I really think it's part of waking people up, but it's also part of like that reset. And if we're coming into the end of September, they're talking about government shutdown. Apparently there's a bill that's trying to get signed to, look how Trump's ignoring him, and he's giving the guard all the attention and totally ignoring the king. And apparently the Dems are not going to sign it or let it pass because there's no funding for illegals' health care. And so if the government shuts down the end of this month, well, is that all part of this? And then with the debt that I showed earlier, the little tweet about the debt rolling over and who's going to end up buying that. And there's other countries not lined up to buy our debt. I think that could crash the Fed. Also, Trump is, they're going to have a hearing about does he have the authority to fire that Lisa Cook, whatever. And we've looked into all of that.
This is all kind of coming up before the 23rd too, is kind of what you're suggesting.
All coming to a head around the 30th.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
we'll kind of be put to bed around then.
So let's build it all together. Okay. So I'm going to just go 4 minutes. Let's go step by step and arrive back at September 17th. I want to give the audience context for why the date matters.
Okay.
Do the steganography, walk them through. Again, everybody, we've mentioned so many times already today, even go back and look at the Intrepid Museum 88 ritual Wolverine starting point at the beginning of the summer that Lisa and I were pointing out that suggested between the dates of June 3rd and August 30th, we were going to have a building towards something that was going to indicate some ritual having to do with fucking with time, fucking with your perception of it. This is all about mind control. V-Steganography, remember, is all about mind control, the senses, casting influence and suggestion on top of the senses so that you are confused as to what your perception of reality is. That's what the V-Steganography is always kind of danced around the topic of. It hides the secrets of history, hides the secrets of science, hides the secrets of money, hides the secrets of spirituality. So there was a video at the beginning of that kicked this all off. There was a weird breathing, synthesized kind of relaxing style video of, hey, kick back and relax and listen to Wolverine breathing for 8 hours. It was an 8-hour long video. Right at the halfway point, we have a timestamp that leads us to a date in April that starts this whole thing off. And we have a facsimile of the first Wolverine comic ever of the character doing this. So Hugh Jackman was the character in the YouTube video that kicked us off, pointing to this series. This had everything to do, again, with the Intrepid Museum. You'll have to go watch those videos to find out why that is. But only after me going and purchasing myself some copies of this comic did I find the context of what this is pointing to. What it's pointing to is an ad in all 4 of the comics in this series. It's a 4-part series. There's this ad, Darkseid, Dark Phoenix, Apocalypse Now. And it's kind of a teaser in the comic book world of a series that's coming out. Ooh, Darkseid is, by the way, this kind of psychically all-powerful being, cosmic being in the DC universe, and Dark Phoenix is a character in the Marvel universe. So already when you look at this, you're like, this is weird. This is a Marvel comic. What's going on with DC? If you go into my Batman stuff, you would know the DC Parasite Network, what DC Comics is named after. You know, it goes deep. DC Electric Current, right? There's a lot of this shit that's all tied into these memes, and the comics are just these imprints on your mind to filter them right through your reality. So it persists with all 4 of these comics, all 4 issues in the series, and that same ad is in there in all of them, all the way up until the last one, where the ad changes its tune a little bit because it unveils that the series is actually this. So this was what the teaser trailer basically was leading up to in the last issue. A crossover comic between the Uncanny X-Men and the Teen Titans. And this was the first instance that you see where Marvel and DC actually do a collaboration effort.
Let me do that again. I've got the
yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to look for something. I couldn't see you there.
So there's Darkseid. You see the big face there? That's actually Darkseid. He's a DC character, and he's the big kind of red-eyed, grumpy-faced, blue-headed guy. And Dark Phoenix is right here, where my finger's pointing to. So those are the 2 villains, obviously, in this series. I haven't yet gotten this series to see what it's pointing at. However, I'm not sure it matters. I think what we're supposed to see with this is that Marvel and DC did their first crossover comic, the first ever one. And they don't do this very often. They've only done this 3-4 times ever. And it's only ever for like these little tiny weird series. And so that was an interesting point that I think it was the most interesting thing that stood out to me as I looked through these comics and read them for steganography context. And I think I was accurate in following the breadcrumbs toward what the message was telling through the comics series. It led me to the next time that Marvel and DC did a collaborative effort in the 90s. And this time it was a weird kind of a mashup. Instead of having a multiverse, this was the first, the Teen Titans and Uncanny X-Men was the first time in the comics where I think this concept of the multiverse came out, which is all these alternate realities. There are many universes out there with alternative versions of myself, all operating, doing things just a hair different from me, right? And this concept started to bleed into comics in a really heavy way. In terms of what in the DC side of things, they called it the Infinite Crisis series, and then they called it the Secret War series on the Marvel side. But it was kind of a similar storyline that always came back. And this is what you find in the movies to this day. When you go look at all the Marvel movies that Disney made, it all explores these concepts of the multiverse, trying to get you to fashion your mind by watching them around this idea that you aren't living the only reality there is relative to you and your template, right? Well, all of a sudden in the 90s, here's what you get. Remember, Batman and Wolverine. We had Wolverine comic series. Batman is the central character to all the V-Steganography subtext for the Aryan themes of what it's trying to tell us from the Templar side. Remember, the positive messaging that comes through the V always comes by way of Batman's honor system, kind of a thing, right? There's more to it than that. But Batman being a very honorable character, he's also the only human that's a superhero. All he has is his wits and his mind to overcome whatever it is that's trying to fashion itself against his mind. So you have a mashup then in the 90s where Wolverine and Batman in an alternate universe are combined into the same person called Dark Claw. And it's a very short run thing. It's this fake label that they came up with called Amalgam Comics. And this here, let me see if I can get it close. Yeah, the focus isn't.
That's okay.
But what this logo is, there it is. It's a V. It's a V with an A in the middle of it for amalgam. So you've got the lambda and the V right there in the logo for Amalgam Comics, where it's DC and Marvel together. And they did 2 of these different stylizations a year apart from each other, but they created this character, Dark Claw, for some reason, right? Mm-hmm. So there's time number 2 that they teamed up together. So now what happens on September 17th? But does Marvel and DC decide to come out with a new comic? Here it is, fresh off the press from yesterday, brand new.
Yes.
Deadpool Batman, and you see who's fighting on the cover. Batman and Wolverine. They're fighting now on the cover. I showed in the last video, Lisa pulled up another variant cover with Batman and Wolverine fighting with a big V right in the middle of the comic book relief. Mm-hmm. And they're not fighting each other except for this little tiny vignette in the comic. So I'll show you the little scene. Here it is. It's just this little interlude. Batman and Wolverine are fighting each other. And there's the Frank Miller stylization. And they're just kind of blowing up each other and chiding each other, and for two or three pages. And Batman ties some explosives to Wolverine. Wolverine's got the ability to heal, so it doesn't kill him. And Wolverine is said down here saying, after in this last frame, and this is interesting to me, Batman says, "Ready to call it a day, Fido?" Like a dog. Ready to run on home and lick your wounds. And Wolverine says, "Sure, bub, and you can come visit any time that you get the itch. I'll show you a time." And time is highlighted both times in bold. Time ritual. Everyone, this is what the Oz stuff is all about. This is the template that the V-Steganography, when used against your mind, tends to control aspects of your reality with. That's where this whole Oz meme is present. And that's why it comes through in the Road to Ruta too, is because it's this occluded layer of fakery on top of. And again, it only shows itself through the Road to Ruta comics, through the money side of it. We're talking about a much deeper context of what the V-Steganography in a separate comic strand of our pop culture is showing us. So there's a time ritual. September 17th, V-Steganography with the other alternative cover on this. Deadpool being the main character in Marvel's universe that signifies that whole time travel template of Oz on your mind. That's what, if you go look at the Deadpool movie last year, which Wolverine was a star of last July, it was a facsimile, and it was an allegory rather for the Wizard of Oz. The entire movie was. So you have all this Wizard of Oz, V-Steganography. Reality is slightly out of phase. misdirection with the key moments in these comics. Now, I'm not done either. The main story of this, where Deadpool's actually interacting with Batman, the Joker is present as the central villain. And when they're trying to figure out, Batman and Deadpool, that is, when they're having a dialogue about finding out what the Joker's up to, they find out and they're discussing that he's stolen a bunch of Joker venom. Joker venom is an injectable that the Joker uses to put into the public to make them laugh to death, essentially. And at some point, they're having this discussion here on this page. There's Deadpool and Gordon and Batman. And I'll read you what they're saying because this is key. So he's giving you 6 hours to find him. This is the Joker speaking through Gordon. To find him before he unleashes 30 tons of Joker venom on Gotham City, unless he's bluffing. Batman says he's not. Every chemical he needed was stolen across Gotham on August 8th. He's had plenty of time to synthesize the serum. And then Deadpool says, August 8th? That was a full moon. And Batman says, it was, right? And so they continue on with the dialogue, but it's a significant moment that they're mentioning the astrology patterns of it, because if you actually go look up August 8th and the full moon, it was last August. This is as if this comic is being presented to you in present time.
Yeah.
And talking about August 8th and the eclipse, 88, 8 is the date, right? So it's still talking about the time ritual here and what it kicked off. So we've got that time ritual. We have the eclipse coming up. So that full moon kicked off something. The comics are tying it together. The key date of September 17th, remember, was the day the comic came out, for the same day as Constitution Day, the same day that Lisa's showing us all of this symbolism for.
I have one more thing to show you. This was also written on Constitution Day, a letter. So you guys, a lot of people know that we weren't ever really free from the crown.
Are you talking about Admiralty law terms? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you can call it that. And that our taxes have gone back to the crown through the London Bridge, all that. And if you want to look into all that stuff. So maybe we now have really been freed from that, because this says, dear fellow American, on behalf of my administration, the American people, like if the ink really is dead, and if we really now, this letter says, on behalf of my administration, the American people, congratulations on becoming a citizen of our great and glorious nation. America has always welcomed those who embrace our values, assimilate to our society, and pledge allegiance to our country. By taking this oath, you have forged a sacred bond to our nation, her traditions, her history, her culture, and her values. This rich heritage is now yours to protect, promote, and pass down to the next generation. Our history is now your history. Our customs are now your customs, and our Constitution is now yours to safeguard, honor, and respect. The United States is now your homeland, and you stand as a part of one nation under God. You have pledged your heart to America, and in return, she offers the boundless promise of freedom and opportunity. We applaud you in your devotion to our country, our people, our history, our great American story. And as long as American people continue to love our country and uphold our values, there's nothing our nation cannot achieve. Our communities will flourish, our people will prosper, our traditions will endure, and our future will be brighter, more radiant, and more hopeful than ever before. Once again, congratulations and welcome. May God bless you, and may he continue to bless the United States of America. Sincerely, Donald Trump. I wonder if this was the White House, Washington. It does not say D.C.
So and also, DC might not even be part of it now.
So that was the other thing I was going to tell you. DC, the representative of DC, was convicted. That was what I thought of, and I forgot to tell you. I think I sent it to you in a text, but I thought of that a second ago. Okay. Let me find this.
Well, because of the DC Comics thing, this is all connected with yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me find the tweet. Hold on. When I saw this, I was like, the who got what? and no one said anything about it. It was all just like, oh yeah. And it says for 46 months or something. Like, oh gosh, this is so huge. You know what? I probably text it to somebody. I could probably find it quicker this way. Oh. Let's see. Oh my gosh, this is just.
Yeah, there's something significant about Constitution Day, something very significant that we're not quite seeing only a day on from it now, you know?
No, this is it. This is.
Well, I think not to say that this isn't going to be the thing that is the hallmark of it maybe, but I think there's going to be some lasting effects from this that we don't quite see is kind of what I'm getting at. Because again, we're only a day on from it. But it's going to be very significant if DC, you know, the whole cleanup effort with DC, if that actually meant they were going to not even use the moniker of DC anymore. Because I've always called it the DC parasite network, the node by which all of the mind control extended like a spider web out into, you know.
Who did I send it to? Oh, I can't stand this.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Well, I'll just have to look through my. Oh, they also moved. Okay, hold on. This is very important too. They moved the FAA to Philadelphia. The FAA has been in New York, and the fact that they recently moved from New York to Philly. Oh, I'm sure it's just a coincidence. And I will tell you, maybe he might have unliked it, but one of my JFK Jr. Followings liked that post. So I don't think that's a coincidence. Also, these palm trees, I'm sure those are not native to the UK. That's a calm. Where is the...
I wonder if Gabrielle is going to make landfall on the 23rd also, you know.
Man, where is it? DC. This was hilarious.
That was also yesterday.
Yep.
So that you know, that is coincident with the 17th also. So this is going to be tied to Constitution Day in some sort of a way that we'll probably start to see in the future too.
Yep.
Bitcoin being what to the whole program?
Mm-hmm.
For those uninitiated with the image, that's Donald Trump's golden statue that now faces the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. He's holding a big.
It's not D.C. It's not D.C. anymore. Just Washington. But
right, just Washington.
Just Washington, because D.C. has been brought on charges, or it says the representative of D.C. Oh, I can't believe I can't find this. Look away if this makes you sick for me to scroll fast.
I'm fine. I don't know about the audience, but
yeah, I know. Some people get nauseous, but this was awesome.
So the Empire State Building had a couple of key posts there on the 17th too. It looks like, huh?
They put "I'm sat." Like
right, Satoshi. I saw that too.
And then lightning, bang, immediately after that.
And then the whole
moon
eclipse. Or excuse me, just the full moon, right? It was like,
yeah. And so I was like, oh, going to the moon. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Well, and what is that signifying based on our 88? You know, what's it telling us about the full moon from August 8th? Oh, and then we got
Cliff had talked about 888 several times. I mean, so
who did?
Uncle Cliff.
He did. He talked about 8? When?
Oh, it's in his data. 8's the 888 so many times.
Oh, you're talking about like, oh, Bitcoin's going to reach 8,088. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't even remember all the specific.
888, 8888.
Mm-hmm.
It was always eights with Bitcoin's milestones. So that is interesting too, because you're right. It was always Bitcoin's milestones specifically, where he was talking about eights being the main designator for the new floors that were set, I think is basically what those data sets were saying. Every time it crossed those thresholds,
Mm-hmm.
it would never go back below those thresholds again once it passed them.
Right.
I think is the kind of thing that was talking about. Our next one would be 888,000. That would be the next one that was relevant because we already passed 88,000.
So this is where I think the Fed thing, they've lost the trust, because they have a mandate to price stability, the interest rates and all that kind of stuff. And so this is where they have eroded the trust in the people. And so now that they have this yield curve control, whatever, I think that's what's going to end them and all this.
Well, I don't know if the basis point drop yesterday had anything to do with anything. It was also on the 17th though.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know if the Fed is even going to be around here.
No. I cannot find it.
Well, maybe what did again? Did it concern the post that you're looking for?
It's talking about that the representative of DC was charged and convicted. And they were going to be like, I'll find it.
The representative of DC, huh?
Yeah. And I'm like, what
you
do
mean like from the House of Representatives? Like,
nope.
I didn't think the House of Representatives had a DC rep.
And that's where I'm like, are they talking about the mayor? Are they talking about a trust? Oh, here it was before that, because I had to go do parking lot duty. And that was me jacking around in parking lot duty. Here it is. The defendant of the District of Columbia was sentenced today in district court to 46 months in prison for orchestrating a scheme to smuggle weapons, which that's kind of vague, fentanyl, and cell phones to the maximum security detention facility while he was awaiting trial for murder.
So he's literally called the defendant of the District of Columbia.
Of District of Columbia. And it says, well, he.
District of Columbia.
The sentencing on voluntary manslaughter scheduled for November 7th. How is no one talking about this?
Well, this is just, it seems like this is just a term they use. The defendant of the District of Columbia. Because the same account talks about the defendant of the District of Columbia pleading guilty today to her role in a scheme that defrauded $1.5 million in economic security disaster loans from the U.S. government.
Oh, really? They call it a her too?
Well, these are different dates. The same account that you got this from seems to have these announcements all the time where they're talking about defendants of the District of Columbia, and they're always different people. So it must just mean
people.
It must just be a designation for, like, you know, anytime they have like a public defender type of situation where, you know, that's maybe what they have to designate the person that's being defended as. The defendant of the District of Columbia. So here's another one from August. The defendant of the District of Columbia pleaded guilty today to 3 counts of assaulting a government official.
I think you're right. Okay, so that would make sense. Dang, I was getting all excited.
That's okay. I mean, there might be something to this even still, like whoever this is. They don't actually have a tendency to look like they give the actual names or visages of these people. So
it is interesting though.
Yeah. Sentencing on voluntary manslaughter.
Okay.
So anyway, I think it's interesting that if the DC moniker is gone, so I guess we'll have to keep looking out for that to see if the DC moniker starts to get dropped
if you look up on maps and stuff, on some maps it is gone.
On some maps, it is gone. Like Google Maps, even like digitally maps.
Yeah, if you look on your phone.
I guess once we start to get the new 2026 like road atlases and physical printed stuff, I have to see if DC is on there also. But guys, there's a huge tapestry of events yet to decode around Buffalo, McKinley's assassination, World's Fairs, Ingersoll Lockwood, the time ritual in '88, what it's actually doing, what that time ritual is actually doing as a template for misdirecting your mind in the domains of history, in the domains of money, in the domains of religion, and the geopolitics. This is a big ball of spell casting that's been put on your mind, and we're only novices at decoding this, by the way. We're just like, I only can tell you the context of what I know as I'm going through it. I'm not proselytizing, not prescribing anything, but these certainly are the events that I find with these matching of dates and symbols as it relates to the V. The V is always the grounding mechanism. It's always present. Whenever you're wondering if anything is connecting, you just look for the V watermark and it's always there. And you're, it's connected to this direction of things, right? So
if you see a 55,
55 and 5x5 were always key. And by the way, guys, I've talked about this before. The V is a designation for the number 5. It's also the number of man, because we have 5 senses to control. So that's what the goal is. Do you control their senses by implanting, just like reverse? It's like a reverse osmosis effect kind of thing. When you compare it against remote viewing, it's like remote viewing in reverse. Instead of the remote viewers extracting the programming from the glyph programs you without you knowing it. And this has a tendency to soften you up to what it's actually telling you, because it's just like subliminal programming and advertising. It slips in a hidden meaning underneath it to where you don't question a certain avenue of thought. So we're gonna dig into this one maybe next week with Lisa, because this one has the yellow jacket connotations to it. There's a presidential assassination that comes into the storyline with that very thread too. And so with all the assassinations, with the same stuff that we're seeing with Buffalo, very heavy V-Steg in Buffalo and McKinley beats, both with President Trump's assassination attempt and Charlie Kirk's thing. That's the only thing that I can see now with the V-Steganography, is that McKinley assassination corollary with McKinley dying on the same day that Kirk was, or he being pronounced dead on the same day that Kirk was assassinated. And then whatever is going to happen on September 23rd with McKinley, it was the fact that his killer was brought to justice and put to trial on the 23rd. And what does it have to do with what Trump was talking about with all the World's Fairs? I guess we'll find out. This has to do with Tartaria. This has to do with our ancient history and what's been the wool that's been pulled over our eyes with that corner of the Oz mind control mechanism. And there it is, the candelabra menorah of the Jews. And a lot of people have seen that they're repaving this thing now.
Yeah. What's wild to me is that the lady that coordinated the events that I spoke at with Bitcoin Ben a couple years in a row,
Yeah.
At that college, a really amazing lady, sweet lady. She said, "Oh, you were standing exactly where Charlie Kirk was shot."
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" And so it made me wonder, how you were teaching me about those ley lines and all that stuff. Was that some ley line? And that was part of the ritual as well.
It's interesting that this is a 5-sided, because the pentagrams, the pentagons were the shape in the Earth grid network that, like, I don't know if I've ever showed you this, Lisa. I'm going to send you a link, and we may as well just watch it here. It's actually pretty fascinating if you have a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Let me pull this up from my Rumble channel here. You guys too can watch these videos. This goes all the way back to the beginning. But this was my very first video, believe it or not. Wasn't even ready to put my face on the screen yet, but check this thing out. I'm going to pull this up.
Let me do. I have to do that.
And just
I have to do it a different way. Hold on, because it won't let me. It'll do like. I have to put it in another. No, that's not it. Over here. I can do it over here. Okay. No.
So to tee this up for everyone, as she's getting this up, this is my. This was how I actually decided to finally put my thoughts. But I had investigated the V-Steganography for many years, maybe like 3 or 4 years, through all the Q stuff, through even previous to Trump, and I couldn't find a way to necessarily express what I thought was going on with the Earth grid control network and the ley lines. I thought I was nuts until I come across this guy's work on the internet. And there's a precarious story to this guy. His name is the Florida Maquis.
For anyone finding this video,
before we hit play on this, just setting up the stage for Florida Maquis. Florida Maquis had a YouTube channel that looked at Antarctica through the lens of Google Earth and was finding all sorts of weird stuff down there. And that's what I was watching his channel for back then in like 2014. And it got relatively big. I actually learned though that his CIA wife was he's a psyop, long and short of it. But he had this weird period of time where he was mapping on Google Earth these ley line grid artifacts. Okay, so you see this grid of the Earth, and you see all the little colored lines that he's drawn on there, right? These lines were all connected. He color coded them to different networks of pentagons that he was finding. He was finding discolorations in sand, in rocks, in grass fields. He was finding perfectly shaped pentagons in the middle of forests, just clearings, right? As if the trees just don't grow there. He was finding pentagon-shaped forts. He was finding right? He was finding all these pentagons. What he started to do, Lisa, was he started to just draw straight lines, connecting one point to another. He's like, I'm just going to see if these connect. So he'd draw a straight line from one pentagon to the other, and then he would just keep drawing a straight line and see what else would connect. And by God, it would just like ding, ding, ding. Pretty soon he was hitting huge, major sites like the Holy See, and Notre Dame's Cathedral. All of a sudden,
the Washington Monument.
Right. Yeah. And this is where it all started to give me a visual to talk about this stuff with people. Because I was like, what a gift. This guy is mapping out what's been in my mind. I couldn't quite express that there's some sort of grid that is used by way of the Earth's ley lines they've got some sort of connectivity to it. And these pentagons have something to do with it. Right. So just hit play and let people kind of see this, like, this presentation, I guess.
You're probably finding it by virtue of Florida Maquis' recent work that he's done, probably over the last month or so. And you're undoubtedly familiar, I'm sure, with pentagonal structures that he's been finding curiously in exact alignment with each other when you draw the straight lines and have perfect. To review,
I think we just lost Lisa, guys. Just a sec.
Recently, last night, in fact, or early this morning, this is coming out Sunday, September 8th. He aligned some of these directly with the Holy See in the Vatican, the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and that only adds to what we already have, Terry's Pentagon. And so I've been thinking about making
Pentagon
this video
itself, right? Building
for a little while. Not having a presence on YouTube kind of prevents me from getting the motivation to do it. But after last night's video, I just had to get on here and not provide further points of interest, rather. And so again, credit due where credit is owed, where Florida Maquis has very astutely found this Earth Grid network. What I'm going to attempt to do is build on his research with an attempt to explain what is happening, rather than the why, which is not something I can speculate on, at least with the evidence that we have now. But with the comments from his video last night, this one to be exact, this is actually the video that I've referenced where he was finding the Triple Mount.
So do you see the discoloration there, Lisa? Do you see that where the green line intersects right into the middle of what you see as a very slightly discolored pentagon in the middle of like a grass field? But it's still grass, but there's a very slight shape of a rough pentagram around the outside of that. Do you see?
Yeah.
And these are the artifacts that he was finding in Google Earth, and I'll keep. I don't know if I'm going to get all the way to the end, but my argument, even at the time, was that these are energy anomalies. There's some sort of energetic templating because our Earth is just a buckyball.
Yeah.
Our Earth, infractally, as it grows, right? Because our Earth grows, it naturally creates smaller and smaller and smaller interlocking pentagons and hexagons because it's a buckyball. And so these are just expansion points that have energetic signatures, plain and simple as that. And they're discolored a little bit, but they're significant because they're exact. As the Earth grows, it kind of geometrically expands its scale without changing its shape. So there's a mathematic perfection to the alignment of these, and therefore there's a design for why you'd put a building like a cathedral on the top of an energy anomaly like this, right? This is where I start to build the case. So anyway, you hit play again, but just want to point out there's that discoloration.
City. This is the Temple Mount with the line going directly through it. And let's see if we can find the Vatican one. Yep, here's the Vatican.
It's perfect. Over the course of thousands of miles, Lisa, it's a
very close to establishing what. So going back to this first photo, I want you guys to look at this for a second and notice that it does resemble something of a picture like this. And what this is a picture of.
Okay. Trump just tweeted, did you feel the shift?
Yeah.
I wonder if, they've been talking about how the polar shift or whatever has been happening. Are these ley lines getting affected? And could that be some of it? Or changing the timelines?
We've also got the guys admitting the aliens from the sea. So
yes,
I mean,
that guy said, "Oh, it's 4 or 5, something about the aliens 4 or 5 feet deep or something." It's not even like we should play that video.
We should. That's a good one to play too. I want to point out to everybody here too. Do you see where the Bermuda Triangles, where the Bermuda Triangle hits? Like, look at all of the energy points that coincide right on the Bermuda Triangle. Look at all of the energy points that coincide over Hawaii.
Over here.
Do you see the bigger pentagon structure around the outside of that? The bigger energy signature of the pentagon right around the outside of it, and also around the Bermuda Triangle. This isn't for tonight's discussion, but
right.
There's a whole bunch of my work that goes into why this is. Anyway. Yeah, but Trump's talking about shifting. Maybe the Earth is growing. I think the Earth is certainly growing right now. I think we're in the process of it.
Well, there was just a huge earthquake in Russia, and they're saying to be careful for tidal waves or tsunamis in
it was Alaska. An 8.8 magnitude, by the way, everyone. It truly was. Okay. I mean, I'd say you can't make it up.
Okay. Ooh, goodness. Just so crazy. All right.
So I want everybody to maybe watch this. Like, this goes on like this. And what I've kind of told you in Cliff Notes what my argument where my work started was that underneath us, there's this potential, because we're conductive units. We're little conductive units touching the ground. And it's just this big electrical transducer that we live on. That's all the Earth is. This big transducer takes energy from the sun and converts it into other forms of energy. That's what a transducer does.
And we just had a big solar storm that kicked off this last week or so. And it was that Superman, that funky S shape.
Oh, really?
Remember in our last video, we talked about the S.
From Kingdom Come storyline.
Kingdom Come. That S. If you guys didn't see our last video, go watch our last video together.
I think this was two videos ago that we did that one, but yeah, that was significant.
And that was about that different Superman. And it was the Kingdom Come video, and that's what they just showed, and that it could cause a electrical storm or something like that.
Yeah.
But it would take, so when it goes off on the sun's surface, it takes a little while for the effects to get to the Earth. So maybe that's what we're looking at come around later this late labor.
No, we
I don't know.
We still have the Three-Eye Atlas whole fiasco ongoing and unfolding. And the point is I don't quite know how much of it's always orchestrated, because as these little units, this has always been my speculative aspect of the V-steganography, is the moon itself plays a part as an attenuator because of its gravitational pull. It has this massive effect. So if you have some sort of energy blasting into the transducer structure of the Earth via the grid, and you have structures on those key points where people's minds can be affected with wavelengths, you use the big attenuator device of the moon, and you get, and eventually where my work leads is the speculation that Saturn and the rings around Saturn act as an instrument that create frequencies for us that get attenuated by the moon, perhaps.
So,
and if
if they admit that the moon is a creation or a manipulated item or whatever, controlled density or whatever, there was a story that just came out of a woman who said that she's figured out gravity or how to remove gravity or whatever. Well, like my childhood nightmare was that I would fly off the Earth, that I lose gravity or whatever. I don't know if you had a repetitive childhood.
I did. I was eaten alive by Monstro the whale from Pinocchio for quite a while. I was like 3 to 5 years old, and
okay, I wasn't eaten by anything, but I would lose. Like, that was my childhood nightmare, was that I lost gravity, and I couldn't stick on the Earth. I would lose gravity. And so, like, you started talking about that, about frequency and the moon and whatever, and then that story I just heard today about that woman getting rid of, figured out how to get rid of gravity, and I was like, oh my God, they're going to do something and get rid of the moon. Well, I'm going to fly off the Earth. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, that's the feeling I had. Well, and then we can all float, but
it's
might not be so fun for some of us.
It's fascinating sometimes how early on in life that you've got precognition to things too. There's probably some sort of clairvoyance embedded within it for whatever you're supposed to know maybe about
Cliff says we're all psychic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't come across this stuff just because I mean, just me recognizing patterns enough to put it all together is a psychic ability, pattern recognition. Fun, stupid as it sounds, that's a psychic ability.
Sure. It's
you've got
choosing
to
to acknowledge it. It's choosing to trust yourself, as my buddy Clint Westwood always says.
Yeah.
It's choosing to look at it and critically think about it and to unpack it and trust yourself and, study the puzzle, put the story together, and take the time and think about it,
Yeah.
So you choose.
I hope everybody starts to really see what I'm trying to get at with this V-steganography stuff eventually too, and that it only plays the part on your mind that keeps you from and prevents you from seeing the world like we just like I just showed it there. With it literally being a transducer that you're living on, unbeknownst to you, energies and frequencies being used against your mind to alter your perception such that your actions are altered in ways that you don't even know they're happening. And the suggestive mechanisms behind those include the glyphs that are put out into our popular media, mainly these days, because that's where your attention is in your phone. So they'll sneak in the V-Steg with dates, they'll sneak it in with songs, with fucking everything. And that's why it's so prevalent. That's why we have so much material to point to as it relates to this, and why it always seems to have similar contextual framing of the themes that it's trying to mimetically imprint on you. It's always taking control of your senses. So whatever is going on with the take back of government, Constitution Day, whatnot, what have you, the fact that it's tied in very deeply with the V-Steg, as we're seeing, is an indicator to me, again, that the self-organizing collective, I call them the Templars, just because of their lineage, rooted in that way of life. We could have a crazy couple of weeks. And you've always speculated Melania is not even human, right? That's you're still in that camp.
It's possible that she's, I kind of think she's Trump's protector.
Yeah.
That she could be Pleiadian or something. And she's possibly,
or maybe she's complete full-blooded Aryan from Mars, and she's one of our pure-blooded ancestors or something.
No matter what she is, I'm a fan, and I thought it was funny, like looking back, which I could do a whole thing on it. Of course, all of this is speculation and said with respect and all the things, but there was one time when they were first, when he was first president, and the haters were like, look, she's slapping his hand away and all this. Well, because she's probably some like ninja badass, and she's actually his protector, and she has to pretend to be the little wifey. And he's like, oh, come on, darling, let me hold my hand and whatever, and she's really like probably his, she's probably like an angel or something, and she's a badass angel, and she's sent here to protect him, or meek little, I'm just here to decorate the White House, and she's incredibly intelligent. I mean, she speaks at least 5 languages, all this, and she's, looked at like she's just the pretty little thing on his arm, maybe she's a very
advanced android robot from a synthetic race, and
almost
like Foundation, like Lady Demerzel from Foundation.
Yeah, I don't think they can make a robot that perfect, but
no, that's the way it goes with the Foundation sci-fi novels, though, is that there was an advanced race of robots that were indistinguishable from the way people looked, at least. But they anyway,
we can talk.
So advanced race. We don't need to get into Foundation Steg. Yeah. We went deep enough today with stuff, but
I love that we're having some conversations and telling people to look at the V-Steg, the Z-Steg, whatever that is that resonates with you. I had a great conversation. I got to meet a great guy. I bought a beautiful antique, speaking of Venetian, Murano mirror. Gosh, it's so gorgeous. And this gentleman, he said, well, I wasn't going to let you buy it. Well, he wasn't going to give me a discount, but he looked at my profile and saw that I wasn't liberal. And so he gave me a discount. Let me buy it. And he said, you know what? We have to be careful. There's so many lies out there right now. And he said, one of the worst things is that Christians are leading people to the lies of Israel. And I said, oh,
hell yeah,
no.
antique owner guy.
So we started talking, and then we went right down that rabbit hole. And I said, you know what? And, you know, he wanted to kind of go separate. And I said, you know what? Let's be really careful. Freedom of speech is really important. But we are one. We are one nation, and it's important for everyone to have a voice. And as long as we're not infringing on each other's rights, we want everyone to have a voice, and you're not harming one another. It is really important that we never lose the freedom of speech in our country. We don't want everyone to be of one mind and one robot mind. We want that town square. We want to have open discussions and think new thoughts and have conversations, as long as we're not harming each other, as long as we're not infringing on. We are a constitutional republic. So the individual's rights are important, and that means everybody's rights are important. So I want to keep that in mind.
By the way, people don't
right.
like to investigate this, but what you just said is what the fascia symbolism signifies. There's a whole discussion that needs to be talked about the name, that, you know, how the Khazarians have done name stealing so deeply on key terms that we don't even know what they mean anymore. But the fascias, you know what the fascias are? The big bundle of sticks around the axe head.
I know what like fascia is in your body.
Right. Well, right. The
same thing.
It's spelt the same way.
Yeah.
It's spelled FASCES. It's the connective tissue.
Yes.
That keeps everything built together. So it's kind of the same thing as what a fascia is. And the Romans used to carry these things symbolically on their shoulders, these big like pontiff things. And the idea is that the central shaft with the axe head on it represents the state and the action that the state can do. But as it goes, if you're swinging a pole axe around, the pole axe, if it's only one pole, it has a tendency to break in battle. It's flimsier because it's just one. It's just one pole, right? One single shaft with an axe head on it. But when you wrap it and bundle it with a bunch of other poles and tie them together with twine, you end up getting a fascia.
Well, because then it's distributed network.
Well, and everybody's protected by everyone else. Everyone's bound together. They're unified in, I mean, it's almost like this.
Like a DAO, like a decentralized.
Right. Or yeah, kind of like a Three Musketeers, kind of like all for one and one for all kind of thing. Right. And so, okay, now.
With no centralized attack?
Right. There's a lot to go along with vulnerabilities with this. I'm just explaining.
No. I'm saying it has strength.
I know.
It sounds like a Bitcoin mining.
Well, it's power of the people.
Like,
these are on the back of the Senate floor, not the Senate floor, the House of Representatives floor. You've got two fascias in gold, big gold fascias on the back, and the pre-1963 dimes, the Roosevelt dimes, had a single fascia on the back.
Interesting.
This now the concept of fascism originates with the fascias in certain contexts that go back to Rome. Now, how the word fascism is used today is this kind of overly domineering authoritarian framework, whereas if you're actually to interpret the symbolism of the fascias, our whole Constitution, if you're using that definition, you may interpret, is it actually in the sense of the definition of what the symbol represents? Is it a fascist document in the original context? I've pontificated on this, whether or not we actually have the definition of what fascism used to mean correct in today's world, in today's context. Given what I just told you about what the whole framework of it is. Mussolini, the leader of Italy,
Mm-hmm.
he wrote a doctrine. It's not long. It's like a 25-page doctrine of fascism. And I can send this to you and you can read it, and you might look at it and say, like, wait, what? Is there really anything wrong with this? Like, first and foremost, one of the tenets is that it casts aside utopia as a lie. You can't ever achieve utopia because you'll always have friction with social dynamics. So the best thing you can do is strengthen the social dynamics that are more divine. And there's also a concept within the doctrine that allows for divine rule to occur. Therefore great acts put out there in an honorable way that the population looks at as divine. Wow, how did he survive that battle? The odds were against him. Holy shit, like stuff like that. Right. Clearly divine acts were on the hero's side that day. That's how heroes become heroes in the old ways, right? You actually accumulate accolades in battle, and God favors you, divine favor. And it's those people that rose to the rank of king and stuff. And it was by way of their exploits in battle. And it's those people's exploits that the populace wanted them to rule them, because they're like, wow, that guy knows his shit. I don't. I'm not that good.
Or knowledgeable or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Some sort of lived experience that made them the expert, that made them stronger, that made them a figurehead, somebody to model the nation after, to model at least the exploits of the nation while that person is in charge after. This seems to be, in my opinion, the way that the old ways of fascism were. In the more Roman merit-based sense. I cast it aside as a wholesale, like, we should adopt fascism, like even in the ancient context today. I don't think that's probably right. We're so much more complex than we were back then. But I do contend that the word fascism is grossly misinterpreted. It's likely gotten a hold of by the name stealers themselves, because when you look at what it's supposed to mean, it's been demonized away. If we actually had that as a term, maybe, and we probably maybe even have to rename it, because nobody is gonna, even in a Charlie Kirk debate, want to listen to, you're gonna talk to rumble rouse, fascism is evil, it's too far gone almost. And I don't know, it's almost like the swastika is a holy symbol, yet look where it's at. So I don't know, that's some other shit for everybody to pontificate on with where we're headed with all this stuff, but that's kind of the ball of wax that is unraveling as we course through it. It's really interesting times, right?
It is interesting, yeah. And how, but once again, that's that name stealing, just like the Taylor Swift thing, tag thing we talked about tonight,
right.
All of that, where the stream of consciousness, when something's going on, you'll start hearing American Eagle. Did you guys see what they did with Sydney Sweeney?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, American Eagle. Yep. You don't think they were doing something with the American Eagles?
SS.
There you go.
Sydney Sweeney. SS with, the secret. Anyway, we've got to
go. We've got to go. And you guys got to go. But thank you for watching. Go get your American Eagles from Andy and Miles Franklin. Tell them Like Coin Lisa sent you. info@milesfranklin.com.
Time is running out. $50 silver approaches.
I'm telling you, I just got some, and they had no more sealed monster boxes of previous.
Yeah, that's the case at my coin shop right now too. I've gone in and stocked up as much as I can, a few stacks over the last, 6 weeks or so. I've gone in and gotten a few more stacks of it, and it's unsealed sleeves. And it's unsealed monster boxes, both. So it's not
sealed, monster boxes of 25 American Eagles, but none of the previous year the sealed monster boxes. You can, they do have some mint previous year coins, but not sealed monster boxes. Right. I mean, it's really starting to see the unobtainium.
I forgot to fucking say this too, but speaking of silver and our Batman themes, the Batman coin is getting unveiled by the U.S. Mint on September 23rd.
No.
Yes.
Oh, come on, man.
And the pre-sales for the Superman token end on the 22nd, and then the next day that's when the pre-sales for the Batman coin begin out of the US Mint. They're making both silver and gold variants of those, by the way, and they're doing a run of Superman, Batman, and then Wonder Woman. So Batman is the one that's sandwiched in between. But yeah, couldn't write it any better, could you? September 23rd is a V-Steg holiday this year. Maybe it's the key date for that the late labor aspect of things has been pointing to for all these years in my work. I think there's enough to suggest that might be the case.
We'll find out.
Woo! If everybody has labor pains on the 23rd for whatever damn reason, we know that that's the case, because you'll know that you're nauseous and you're going to have a headache, and you just want the day to end and get it the fuck over with, because whatever the hell happens,
Oh, that would be crazy.
I love y'all. Hopefully you survive it the same as I,
Oh, let's see. Let's let old Johnny Boy sing us out on his birthday.
All right.
Happy birthday, John McAfee. God bless you.
Birthday, John McAfee.
Everything you've done to
lived up the stair with their perfumed air. It came undone when I was 21. When I was 35, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for blue-blooded girls of independent means. We'd ride in limousines, their chauffeurs would drive. When I was 35. But now the days are short. I'm in the autumn of my life, and I can think of my life as vintage wine from fine old kegs, from the brim to the dregs. It poured sweet and clear. It was a very good year.
It was the autumn. You notice that he emphasized the last line that he ended it on with the autumn. It's the autumn. So what happens on the eclipse? It officially turns to autumn on the 21st.
On the 21st, and he said it falls apart on the 21st.
Yeah,
when I'm 21.
When I'm 21. Well, the numerology of the clip is also 21. So look at that.
That's
201.
Oh, we'll see you guys.
See you later, guys.